Yo, what up, Street Talks? Here, Kim, right? The thought. This one is about self-legitimacy. So, legitimacy comes from Latin lex, L-E-X, like law. And the funny thing in today's modern society is we lack the courage or the philosophical or mental framework to grant ourselves legitimacy. We always feel like you need to depend on somebody else to grant you legitimacy. So for example, people want titles, they want, degrees, certificates, quantified self like money, social media followers, and whatever. And so I was thinking about this for a while. Why is it that you're not allowed to be independently legitimate, to legitimize yourself? We always seek other people for their approval, for our own approval via the words and the thoughts of others, depending on the nod of others. But why don't we ever depend on ourselves for our own self-legitimacy? So this is my thoughts. So for the most part, we kind of live in this utilitarian, capitalist, consumerist, now computer science, data deification society, in which it's kind of this weird chimera of quantified self, utilitarianism, the cult of productivity, capitalism, consumerism, money, Judeo-Christian morality, where you're not allowed to actually self-posit yourself as being of worth. You always need to have someone else legitimize your sense of worth. So how do we do this? But back in Roman times, it would just be like what your father's name was, right? Like even the notion of being entitled, it actually means that maybe back in the day your name was a Von something, so your family's last name had some sort of legitimacy or worth. And so now, whenever you share your opinion, people are always asking, what are your credentials? Credentials, credo, means trust or belief. It actually comes from the word core, C-O-R, heart. In Proto-Indo-European is K-E-R, cur, like kind of the same word as courage. It's Wiktionary.org is my favorite website. I actually use it more than Google, but anyways. So in today's world, we lack the courage to assert our own legitimacy via ourselves, to stand our own 2 feet. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm certainly like emotional. I'm like a very sensitive person. I get easily swayed by numbers, and when people say not nice things to me, I get hurt, obviously, right? But I think the more interesting thing for me is where I learned this and what are the societal structures or the societal pressures or gists or mood that kind of push me towards this direction. And my thought is, once again, it's like a combination of data deification of computer science. Essentially everything could be quantified into ones and zeros, and so whenever you have an opinion, they're always going to ask how many views, how many followers, how many likes you got, or how many ones and zeros you got in your bank account. And there are certain status totems, right? Like if I walk around with a Rolex or $700 Gucci or Balenciaga sneakers, these are kind of more subtle, low-key ways to assert your wealth, your prowess, your whatever. Or if let's say I have the newest iPhone, whatever it may be, or the car you drive. So people are always looking for external totems to assert their self-worth. No one's allowed to just kind of assert their own opinion on their own 2 feet. And this is where philosophy is great, because as a philosopher, you don't actually need anything else to create values. Philosophy is the only discipline where one can assert their own table of values without dependence on something else. So even science, you kind of need numbers, data, and in statistics, you got p-values and stuff like that. But in today's world where most people don't believe in God no more, all the scientists, computer scientists, and atheists have essentially turned to data numbers as becoming our own god. So for anyone who uses like one of those tracking apps, we all kind of know that we want to quote unquote improve ourselves, make ourselves more productive and efficient via just quantifying ourselves in numbers and stuff like that. But I find this very problematic because once again, you know, we're trying to turn humans into predictable computers rather than using computers to become our slaves to make us become more human. So there's really kind of this, no one really, you know, my thought is people don't really got faith in human beings no more. We got faith in money, numbers, being a billionaire or a trillionaire, in devices and computers and stuff like that. So, you know, even my gist with AI technology right now, machine learning, good morning, the desire is to make humans redundant. Or, you know, people are seeking some sort of deeper philosophical truth via numbers and computers and stuff like that. But I think to Peter Thiel's point, there kind of needs to be a hybrid. Like, you know, I've heard it in chess called centaur approach, right? Like centaur, like half man, half horse. So rather than technology being the end in itself, you know, obviously we humans, we should be the end in ourselves. And what we do is we use technology to augment our humanness or our philosophical thinking. So even me being able to walk and vlog and talk is hugely beneficial for me because rather than just sit in front of a laptop in an enclosed space to share my thoughts, I could walk and talk. And I feel this is actually the far more natural way for me to share and stream my thoughts. And so it's not really creating data or information or knowledge for the sake of it, but it's for me to, you know, posit some sort of philosophical ideas and values and to share it widely with others. And I think better when I'm walking. So what that means is this whole vlogging thing, it's not vlogging for the sake of vlogging. It's for me to kind of stream my thoughts and to kind of flesh out my thoughts in a much more kind of fun and playful manner. Anyways, so once again, humans were the goal. Think more philosophy. Let's go beyond data deification and stuff like that. And know that ultimately, feel free to assert your thoughts, your opinions without stepping on nobody else's without feeling like you need to tippy toe, without, you know, name dropping, without asserting your values. And whenever people ask you, you know, how many followers, likes, or credentials you got, always be a little sus.